Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Chronivium. I am so glad you are here today. Take a slow breath, find a comfortable place, and let this story begin. Imagine a young woman. She's about 20 years old. She sits alone in a cold, dark room inside a castle. The walls are thick stone. The door is locked. The only sound she hears is a river flowing outside. The only light comes from a small window high above her. Armed soldiers stand guard at the door. She does not know if she will live or die. She does not know if tomorrow she will walk out free or lose everything she has. This young woman has no army. She has no money. She has no powerful friends. Her own sister, the Queen of England, put her in this prison. Her sister did not trust her, but this woman will survive. One day, she will become one of the most powerful rulers the world has ever known. Her name was Elizabeth. Her story begins not with a crown, but with tragedy. But first, you must understand something about this time. In the 1500s, men ruled England. Kings made the laws, kings led the armies, kings decided the future. People expected women, even royal women, to stay quiet, to marry well, and to have sons. No one believed a woman could rule a country alone. Remember this. It makes Elizabeth's story even more amazing. The year was 1533. In a great royal palace near London, a baby girl was born. Her father was King Henry VIII, one of the most famous kings in English history. Her mother was Anne Boleyn, the king's second wife.
Henry wanted a son. He wanted a boy who could become king after him. When Elizabeth was born, he was deeply disappointed. But that disappointment was only the beginning. When Elizabeth was only 2 years old, the king had her mother arrested. He accused Anne Boleyn of terrible crimes. Many people today believe those accusations were false, but at the time, it did not matter. They put Anne on trial. They found her guilty, and they took her life. Elizabeth was only 2 years old. She would never remember her mother's face. After her mother's death, the king said Elizabeth was no longer his true daughter. He removed her from the line to the throne. In one moment, Elizabeth went from a princess to almost nobody. But this little girl, alone and forgotten, had something inside her that nobody could take away. Elizabeth grew up in quiet houses in the countryside, far from the royal court. She had excellent teachers, and she was a brilliant student. She learned Latin, Greek, French, Italian, and even some Spanish. She loved books. She loved music. She loved learning. But she also learned something else, something even more important than any language. She learned how to be careful. England was a dangerous place in those years. Her father had 6 wives, and he had 2 of them killed. The country was divided. Catholics and Protestants disagreed deeply about religion. Leaders killed people simply for believing the wrong thing. Elizabeth's older sister, Mary, was Catholic. When Mary became queen in 1553, she ruled with a hard and fearful hand. She believed all Protestants were enemies of God. She ordered nearly 300 people to be burned for their faith. The people of England lived in fear. They gave her a dark name. They called her Bloody Mary. And Elizabeth, who was Protestant, had to be very careful. One wrong word, one wrong letter, one wrong friend. Any of these could have ended Elizabeth's life. Mary did not trust her sister. She believed Elizabeth was secretly plotting against her.
In 1554, Mary ordered her soldiers to take Elizabeth to the Tower of London, a royal prison. Many people who entered the tower never came out alive. The Tower of London was a terrifying place. Its walls were thick and cold. The river flowed dark and silent beside it. Her own mother had died inside those very walls, and Elizabeth knew it. Can you imagine that? A young woman, only 20 years old, walking through the gates of a prison, not knowing if she would ever leave. Elizabeth sat down on the cold stone steps. According to the old story, she said, "Here sits the most unhappy prisoner in the tower." She stayed in the tower for 2 months. Then they moved her to a house in the countryside. They watched her closely for almost a year. She was not free, but she was alive, and she waited. But life, as many people in history have learned, can change in a single day. In November 1558, Queen Mary died. She had no children, and by the law, the crown passed to the next person in line, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was 25 years old. According to the story, she was sitting under an oak tree at Hatfield House, north of London. A group of men rode up on horses. They knelt before her. They told her that Mary was dead. She was now the Queen of England. Elizabeth looked up at the sky and spoke in Latin. She said, "This is the Lord's doing, and it is wonderful in our eyes." The girl they called illegitimate, the girl they locked in the tower, the girl who lost her mother at 2 years old, she was now the ruler of England. On January 15th, 1559, Elizabeth walked through the streets of London to be crowned queen. Thousands of people lined the streets. They cheered and threw flowers. Music played from every corner. Elizabeth smiled and waved. She wanted her people to know she was their queen, not a distant ruler hiding behind stone walls, but a queen who truly belonged to them. But being queen was not easy. England was a divided country. Catholics and Protestants did not trust each other. The country had almost no money. The army was weak, and many powerful men in Europe did not believe a woman could rule. Elizabeth had to prove them wrong, and she was clever. She did not rush. She did not make enemies when she did not need to. She listened carefully to her advisors, especially a man named William Cecil, who served her loyally for 40 years. She chose her words carefully. She smiled when she was angry. She waited when others wanted to act. But the decision that surprised everyone the most was not about war or religion. It was about love. From her very first days as queen, everyone asked the same question: when will the queen marry? In those days, people expected a queen to marry. A king was seen as the true ruler. A queen was expected to simply be the mother of future kings. Every advisor, every member of parliament, every foreign prince expected Elizabeth to choose a husband. But Elizabeth refused. She met princes from France, from Spain, from Austria. She danced with them. She wrote them letters. She let them hope. But she never said yes. People begged her. They warned her that England needed an heir, someone to rule after her. Without one, the country could fall into chaos. But Elizabeth had seen what happened to queens who married. Her own mother married a king and lost her life. Her sister Mary married the King of Spain, and he controlled her every decision. Elizabeth did not want to be controlled by anyone. She told her parliament, "I have already joined myself in marriage to a husband, and that husband is the kingdom of England. Think about that. She chose her country over love, over family, over everything. The people began to call her the Virgin Queen, and she wore that name with pride. She kept foreign kings guessing. As long as they believed they might marry the Queen of England, they would not attack her. Her refusal to marry was not weakness, it was a clever plan. But the greatest test of her life was still coming, and it would arrive from across the sea. In 1588, the most powerful country in Europe was Spain. King Philip II was angry with Elizabeth. He decided to invade England. Philip built the largest fleet of warships the world had ever seen. 130 ships, 30,000 men. He called it the Armada. It sailed from Spain in the summer of 1588. Fear spread across England. But Elizabeth was not afraid. Or if she was, she did not show it. She put on armor and rode a white horse to meet her soldiers at Tilbury near the River Thames. She said, "I know I have the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king, and a king of England too." On the night of July 28th, the English sent burning ships into the middle of the Spanish fleet. The fire lit up the dark water. The Spanish captains panicked and sailed away from the flames. The next morning, the English attacked. Their ships were smaller, but faster. Then a great storm came and destroyed many of the remaining Spanish ships. Elizabeth and her small navy had won. A small island nation had defeated the most powerful empire on Earth. After the Armada's defeat, England entered a time of great energy and confidence. People call this the Golden Age of England. English ships sailed to every corner of the world. Sir Francis Drake became the first Englishman to sail around the globe. And something else happened during this time, something that would last far longer than any war. The theater was born. A young man named William Shakespeare came to London and began writing plays. Elizabeth loved the theater and supported the arts. Elizabeth ruled England for 45 years, the longest reign in English history at that time. But her final years were not easy. Her closest friends and advisors began to pass away, one by one. She grew older, and the loneliness she had chosen grew heavier. She had no children. She had no husband. The great halls of her palace grew quiet. On her deathbed in March 1603, she finally agreed that James, the King of Scotland, would rule after her. Elizabeth died on March 24th, 1603. She was 69 years old. Her family, the Tudors, had ruled England for over 100 years. With Elizabeth, that long chapter came to an end. But the England she left behind was stronger, prouder, and more creative than anyone had imagined. A girl who lost her mother before she could remember her face. A girl who was told she was nobody. A girl who was locked in a prison and told she would never be queen. And yet, she became one of the greatest rulers in all of history. She chose to give everything she had to something bigger than herself. Now, my friend, I want to say something to you. Every time you press play on a story like this, you are choosing something. You are choosing to grow, to learn, to give your time to something that is not easy, but something that matters. Learning English is not easy. Some days the words feel heavy. Some days you may want to give up. Maybe sometimes you feel like the girl in the tower, surrounded by walls of words you don't yet understand. But look at Elizabeth. She was told she was not enough, and she proved everyone wrong. You are proving something too. Elizabeth chose her country over everything. You are choosing your future, and that is something to be proud of. Keep listening, keep learning, keep going. This is Chronivium. If Elizabeth's story moved you today, leave a comment below. Until next time, take care of yourself and never stop learning.